Tom Brady leaving New England. Stefon Diggs traded to the Bills. You got Jordan Howard going to the Dolphins. You got Austin Hooper going to Cleveland. Phillip Rivers going to the Colts. And yes, the DeAndre Hopkins and DJ trade. We're going to be talking about all of that today in the Pick Six. You were listening to Sean Ryan and Andrew Erickson. Andrew, how you doing, my friend?
It's been a sad day here in Boston, I gotta say.
Oh,
it's been sad.
I completely forgot that you're a New England guy. I completely forgot about that. So, hey.
Yeah.
Let's just dig into that, man. Give me your thoughts as a Patriots fan.
Yeah, so I think, and of course, Tom Brady drops the bomb, when everybody is quarantined on St. Patrick's Day when there are no bars open. So
and Boston cancels the parade. Chicago did too, where I'm located.
Yeah, it was a whirlwind, I guess, for sure. But I mean, to be honest, I'm not really surprised by this. I had always been, an advocate of my own podcast, kind of talking about how I thought that he was going to leave, and it made a lot of sense. The quarterback room basically has never been as vast as it has been this year, and there are still options for the Patriots. The Patriots are not what I would say in a corner right now. There's Cam Newton, there's Andy Dalton, there's the draft. They have Jarrett Stidham. So it's not like, hey, we have no options, like we're screwed. It's like, actually, there's still a lot of options. There's Jameis Winston. Like, there are still options available, and that's what Belichick is always about. He's never going to kind of put himself in a corner. He always has plan A, plan B, plan C.
Sure,
that's why he's been so successful. So I think that I'm not glad. That's not really the right way to put it, but I think that it's really intriguing for the season. It's like, I'm definitely going to be really interested to see how it works out in Tampa Bay for Brady, and I really want to see what happens with the Patriots. And this, ever since I was been a Patriots fan, Tom Brady's always been the quarterback. Yeah, right. So yeah, it'll be interesting for sure.
It's weird. So my buddy who does Brad, who does the Get Paid podcast with me, he's a Packers fan. So he went in from his youth, Brett Favre for years and years and years, into Aaron Rodgers. Interesting situation. I would love, by the way, for Jameis Winston to go to New England just to see all the interceptions, and I would see Belichick's head getting bigger and bigger, not because of cockiness, but because it's on the verge of exploding, seeing all those interceptions. I would love to see that just for the theater of it, but that's never going to happen. Andy Dalton, I think, is intriguing. You can win games with Andy Dalton, as Cincinnati has proven. We'll see what happens in the draft. When I did that Reddit mock draft, which I know you're aware of, it's on the channel. YouTube, and by the way, if you're listening to this in the podcast, please visit Underdog TV, youtube.com/The Underdog. Please also follow Andrew and I on Twitter. I'm at TFS_Sean. Andrew's at TFS_Andrew Erickson _. I got it right this week, Andrew. I got it right this week. Follow us, do all the stuff. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Andrew and I, look, the world might be shutting down, but the podcasts are going, baby, and so are the videos. Patriots, look, I think their floor is 8-8 anyway. It's just a good team. And I don't like Jarrett Stidham. Well, give me your thoughts on Jarrett Stidham. You know him a lot more than I do. All I know is, and I'm biased because I lost a bet when he threw that pick six against the Jets. So I hate the guy. But that's really my the only thing I know of him. So obviously I'm biased and uneducated. So why don't you tell me what your thoughts are, following the team as close as you do.
Yeah, so it's Jarrett Stidham. So when Jarrett Stidham was at college, he originally played at Baylor, and that's where he was much more successful. And what he did was he ended up transferring to Auburn. His last year at Baylor, he actually was projected to be a first-round quarterback, and people thought he was really good. And then he went to Auburn because obviously, Baylor had some things happen there, and they were like, we're going to go to Auburn, and I'm really going to, flash more there. And it just kind of totally blew up in his face.
Sure.
Almost kind of like the opposite of what happened to Joe Burrow, where he basically transferred and totally worked out and everything got way better. Whereas Jarrett Stidham, it was kind of the reversal.
Right.
He went to a different school and it just didn't work out. The offense was a mess and things like that. So again, what I'm hearing is that they do really like Stidham. But again, he really hasn't played that much. So there's really no way to tell he's going to be this or he's going to be that. He was a 4th-round pick.
Right.
A lot of 4th-round picks, of memory, guys are 4th-round picks. It's
excuse me.
A Kirk Cousins was successful. Yep. Dak Prescott was a 4th-round pick.
Brady was a 6th, right? Brady was a 6th.
So it's not impossible, but again, he was good in the preseason, but really it's really an unknown. But I do think ultimately they will bring in a veteran. But I don't think that they will bring in a veteran and name that the starter. I think that Belichick is going to make it's an open competition, with the best quarterback's going to start, whatever, because this is the first time he has that opportunity to be I actually can have a QB competition. let's have some fun with this.
Now, let me say this. Let me move it to the Tampa Bay side of things, because we did the series, and I'm not even sure. I don't think we've aired the O.J. Howard version of this on the Underdog TV yet. But the listeners of the podcast know you came out in the second episode and you said, look, I'm a believer that O.J. Howard's going to come back. And I said, no, I don't think so. I don't like the system. But with Brady going there, it kind of changes everything for me. And this is going to be a trend in this episode because you've had a couple of predictions from like 2 weeks ago, just like boom, 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 boom. You've had like maybe even 3 or 4 hit, which I got to give you credit for, man. You're on your game. But talk to me what you thought. I'll give you my thoughts too right afterwards. But the fit for Brady in Tampa Bay, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think he's just upgrading with weapons overall. Yeah. I think that he just has better receivers. I think that he has a really athletic tight end. He is an aggressive play caller. So I think ultimately for Brady, I think that he gets an immediate upgrade in terms of fantasy. I think he was a QB12 last year, and I would definitely say that he's probably locked in to be at least a top 12 quarterback again.
Yeah, definitely.
Considering he was a QB12 last year. But I've seen some people write about like him being a top 5 guy. But for me, I think that's too high.
Yeah.
Just because, yes, Brady can have all the weapons in the world. But at the end of the day, like the guy is not going to rush for like more than like 50 rushing yards. It's not going to happen.
People always forget about the rushing side of being quarterback when it comes to fantasy.
It's so important. If you look at last year, the top 5 quarterbacks last year all had over 250 rushing yards.
Right.
So, like, that's the trend. Like, that's what's happening.
It's 25 points to your total right there in most league formats.
It's not an anomaly. It's the trend. Like, and that's what Belichick, I think, wants. Jared Stidham can move. Like, Brady can't. Like, that's the one thing Brady can read a defense and be accurate and do this and that. But, like, the one thing that no matter what he can do as 43-year-old quarterback, he cannot learn how to be faster.
Yeah, and that's why I never bought him to San Francisco, because a lot of that system, I mean, it's a great passing offense, don't get me wrong, and there's a lot of pocket in there, but there's a lot of rollouts. And I never bought look, they would have made it work. They're smart, good quarterback, good coach, and Shanahan and everything. They would have made it work. But a lot of that is bootleg, like naked action, going out and then hitting guys downfield. And you get some of that with Garoppolo because he's younger. You're not going to get that with Brady. So that's why I never bought it. Here are my thoughts. First of all, you're absolutely right. I mean, this might be. I would still give the edge to the Patriots receiving core that had Welker and Moss. That 17 or 18-1 season. But the team, I think, is probably the second best wide receiver core he's ever had. You got Evans, you got Godwin. You might disagree with me, but I think it's Evans, Godwin. You got O.J. Howard, who I didn't love before. I do like quite a bit more now. In fact, I was calling, when I thought that Brady would be back with New England, I was calling for O.J. Howard to go to New England and give Brady that really stud tight end that we haven't really seen break out. This could be the year for him. You got Cameron Brate, another good tight end. The name's escaping me. The slot guy that they got, he was a rookie last year coming into this year. They have talent on this team. They really do. My big question is, Bruce Arians, and I know Byron Leftwich is the offensive coordinator there. This system is a stand in the pocket for 8 seconds and throw the ball down the field kind of system. So there's got to be some kind of meld there. I don't think it's a slam dunk fit. I love Brady going there. I love the weapons and all that. But Brady's a time release kind of guy. Not to say he won't take deep shots, but he likes to get rid of the ball quickly. Arians' systems traditionally have been, hey, let's expose our quarterbacks to hits. Big Ben Roethlisberger, Andrew Luck's rookie year, Carson Palmer in Arizona. It would not shock me if Brady gets injured early in the year because he's taking more punishment than he ever had in his career. But if he can stay healthy, I think he could have, one of his top, maybe 4 statistical years in his history at 43 years old, which could also be incredible. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a little bit of a give and take. I think that Brady wouldn't accept or go to Tampa Bay if Bruce Arians like, yeah, no, I'm going to run exactly everything I did the same with Winston and Big Ben, because that's not being smart. You want to, look at your quarterback, and Jameis Winston is a lot younger than Brady and is 25, and Brady's 43. Like if you just, we'll insert Brady into what we just did last. I mean, it's not like Bruce Arians' offense helped Winston throw less interceptions.
That's
like,
true.
Like
I don't think anything could help that other than maybe severing his arm. But yeah.
That's what I mean. I think Arians has to kind of reflect back and be like, look, I think he even said like only like 20 of those interceptions were, Winston's fault or something like that, which is a lot, but still at least 10 that weren't. So it's like, from a coaching standpoint, what could he have done to eliminate, some of those more interceptions, like, being smart with the ball. So I think that ultimately, I mean, you have a guy like Chris Godwin who's been able to succeed in the slot. Mike Evans is a prolific receiver that has 6,000 yards receiving, and the only other in the first 6 years of his career, and the only other receiver to do that is Randy Moss. So it's like people are, on Twitter, it's been concerned about Mike Evans to an extent, because Mike Evans isn't a guy that really gets a lot of separation. He's not a guy that is really yards after the catch guy. He's really just been like
Brady lived that for an entire season last year in New England. Receivers not getting separation, right?
Right, and so that's why people are mostly like okay with Godwin being the guy, and then Evans maybe taking a slight dip. But for me, it's like, look at Evans just as a, look at his body of work. 6 1,000-yard receiving seasons in his first 6 years. Like, the guy's just a stud. I mean, he just gets it done. He knows how to be a receiver, and it's like I feel like, and he's played with, like, look at the quarterbacks he's played with: Johnny Manziel, Mike Glennon, Jameis Winston. Like, he's actually playing with, like, oh my god, like Mike's playing with like a legit guy, like someone that I would want to be good for, instead of being like, oh, I gotta like catch this wicked, this pass that's like all over the place from some guy. Like, I feel like it's almost like getting Brady's like, hey, we have like an adult playing quarterback now.
Yeah, I'll say this: it's very similar to me. I remember when New England, what was it, 4th round pick, they traded Oakland for Randy Moss, and everybody was thinking Randy Moss was done. And Randy Moss in his career had Dante Culpepper, who history will show. I know he had like an injury and everything, but when he went to Miami, he was nothing. And he probably, had Randy Moss there propping him up. And then he played. I don't even remember who his quarterback was in Oakland. It wasn't anything good. It was after the Gannon years, I think. So, when New England acquired him and then gets over into that system, you have Welker working kind of underneath, and then you had just Moss going crazy, and Brady sets the touchdown record. So, I mean, look, if he stays healthy, that's my big question, because it's going to work if he can stay healthy when he's in the game. If he stays healthy, man, I do think he's definitely a top 10 quarterback. I mean, that's just what this system will produce. Will he get you the running yards? No. So, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, those guys are going to be ahead of him. But, there you go.